Hey, you fucks. Thanks for, checking out the videos, showing a little bit of support. How about you take it to the next level and show us some love over there on Patreon, huh? Huh? Huh?
Hello and good morning to all my hot, gay, sexy sons out there. Ohayo de gozaimasu from your good old hot dad here in Tokyo, Japan. And welcome back to another rant where I'm talking over B-roll that I took. And this is B-roll of when I went to Fukuoka with my bestest Japanese buddy, Papa Tetsu. And I just thought I'd do... I had a rant today that I wanted to do about something, and then I was like, wait a second, I have something more that I want to talk about, and it is, it's a very wonderful and exciting topic, the best, most dopamine-fulfilling thing ever, books. Yeah, I don't know, I just wanted to talk about books. What the hell is Reganet cute? I don't know what that means, but... this is just B-roll footage that Papa Tetsu took. I don't know, is this 24 frames a second? I don't know, guys, the last, 2 nights, I was going through all my footage from my old trips, and, guys, word to the wise, when you're making a video based on, a couple days worth of footage, it's easier just to break up that footage into segments, or, stuff that you did. And so, this compilation here is, a bunch of clips of me when we were outside filming during the daytime and then also traveling. And, I don't know. It's just, when you're dealing with multiple cameras, it's a lot easier just to break down the scene or whatever, the segment of the video versus going through and manually doing it in Premiere. It takes a while, but... it's worth it, and I realized I didn't do that with any of my fucking videos, or any of the video clips that I had, so, but anyway, this is us, we're riding the fucking bus in Fukuoka, and there's sexy Papa Tetsu, looking all sexy, having his Papa Tetsu drip with him, I don't know, I just, I've been re-listening to a bunch of audiobooks that I really enjoyed, back in the day, and one of the books was called Mindset, and it's about people with fixed mindsets, people with open mindsets, and it's basically just talking about how because since I'm a teacher, the number one thing with my students is that I want them to be willing to accept challenges when I give them harder work to do in class, and it just I really like this book because it kind of reaffirms what the great Katsumoto, the guy who taught me how to learn Japanese, taught me. And it was just basically, there was a lot of stuff that he taught me. He taught me about red pill before there was even red pill. And, sorry about the sniffles. But, he was, he basically talked about how the public school system, especially in America, I don't know, I can't speak for any other countries besides America and Japan, but just talked about how the American school system is set up to basically kill creativity, make people question, wanting to learn. They hate learning. They hate challenges. They're too embarrassed to look stupid, not knowing things and stuff. And, Mindset is definitely one of those books that will change your outlook on all this stuff if you've never heard about any of this. But anyway, I just wanted to get into a bunch of different stuff today, but of course, we're getting to the 4-minute mark, so let me just shout out my money things here. Big shout out to everybody on patreon.com/TKOSam. Thank you guys for the support over there. We got tons of bonus material, including if you want to learn Japanese, if you want help moving over to Japan, or you want to have a tour when you come over to visit. All those options are over there on patreon.com/TKOSam. And big shout out to everybody who's a member on this channel or a member on my main YouTube channel. You guys get access to special parts of the Discord if you guys become a member. And And yeah, just a big thank you to everybody who goes over and supports me. Any super chats that are done during the premieres of videos or that are donated during the live streams will be added to the live stream time. I do a live stream every Sunday, or no, every Wednesday after each one of these rant uploads. But I'm going to start doing a live stream also on Sundays too once I start uploading videos to my main channel again. So yeah, big shout out, thank you to you guys. You know, the Google AdSense doesn't pay shit. I make like $10 a month from this stuff, so all the fan donations, all the fan support really goes to help fueling this channel and giving you guys the content you want. And if you don't want to donate, just do me a favor and smash the like button. Helps with the engagement. And if you guys, and it's good if you leave a comment. And the comment of the day is, can you guys write down a book that you would recommend to people to read that you think would help change their lives? Because, you know, I mean, like, it could be a fictional book, it could be a regular book, whatever it is. You know, write it down in the comments down below. Let's see if I know any of these books, or if you guys know any of the books, or if you're looking for rare books versus, you know, typical, like, oh, everyone knows that one kind of book. Let me know in the comments down below. And like always, we do a live stream at the end of these rant premieres. So stay tuned for the link. I'll be posting that at the end of the video. And spiel is over. Okay. Oh, God. I always get the sniffles in the morning, you know? Ugh. But, anyway, yeah, I was just, you know, right now I'm sitting down here. It's about 9:30 a.m. And, you know, like, we're using the Fukuoka footage because, you know, the next rant that I want to be releasing is when Papa Tetsu and I were in Fukuoka. And, I don't know, the cool thing is like, usually when I go out to film something, it's like a day's worth of footage. I don't really, like, do multiple days of filming just for one video. Just because I'm lazy, and also most of you guys who don't live in Japan wouldn't be able to tell all the work I put into that by jumping around all these different places. So, you know, it's laziness, but also practicality too, you know. But yeah, anyway, it's just this this book, Mindset, by Carol S. Dweck. It's a really good book. It's, again, like, it talks about how a lot of people just, you know, like, it's not just school system, it's also the media as well, really loves to stick home the point of, you know, you are, like, and I'm not talking about her book, I'm talking about all the other systems out there for people growing. It's like, you know, they like to emphasize that it's like, you are, set. You know, like a person who fails a test once, they're a piece of shit for the rest of their lives. If you have a low IQ, that doesn't mean there's any other ways to test you to see, you know, to test your intelligence or test your knowledge, you know. And so this book basically just says, fuck that, you know, established standardized testing bullshit. You know, it's, I don't know, I really love it how they, it talks about, like, basically people need, oh yeah, look at this is a scary-ass fucking cat statue. I don't know why, that just freaks me out for some reason. It's not just a cat in a spacesuit, it's also, like, it's just giant. It's a giant cat. I mean, imagine if there are giant cats around. We'd have to, you know, we'd have to fight them. And, you know, those things are agile. They can dodge fucking snakes. Snakes are fast as shit, so... You know, I don't know. For some reason, it's just scary to me having giant cats around. Ugh. But luckily, they'd be too stupid to take off their space helmets, so they'd probably die pretty quick, you know? They'd probably have their giant owners have to take off their space helmets. Yeah, but... Anyway, this is us in front of Base Youth Hostel. We stayed there, and it was really nice. The people there were really cool. And it was very clean, and it was actually just a giant fucking building that they turned into a hostel. So it was very cool. We enjoyed it very much. Oh man, that blue bag. Fuck, this is a while ago. I don't even have that bag anymore. Shit. I wonder what happened to that bag. Anyway, yeah, and this is Fukuoka, Fukuoka subway, looking exactly like the Tokyo subway. Which, you know, whatever. It's not bad, but, you know, what are you gonna do, you know? What are you gonna do, coffee, right? Tikyo, I'm not here again. Nakasu Kawabata. I'm telling you, Teeks. But anyway, yeah, it's just I really recommend checking out a couple of these books. And the cool thing about the Discord is that if you guys are a patron or a Twitch sub, you will have access to my super exclusive part of the Discord called the Man Cave, where I don't really participate in a lot of the boards on my Discord except for sharing links to cool stuff that I found or whatever, and sometimes I'll go on a rant. But for the most part, I post a lot in the Man Cave. And one of the most recent posts I made was about books that I think you guys, if you're lost, if you're looking for purpose, or you feel like overwhelmed with just society, George Costanza, we're living in a society, then I feel like this will be up your alley. I think that'll really help you. And again, the first thing you should check out is the Mindset by Carol S. Dweck. I don't know if I'm reading her name correct or if I'm saying it correctly, but yeah, you want to do that one because it's basically, it's kind of like the book Man's Search for Meaning, right? It's just saying you can't control your circumstances all the time, but you can control the way you react to them. And it's just like I like that. I like that statement. I like that way of thinking. And it's like I feel like when people are lost or when they're confused or they're kind of directionless or purposeless, they either eventually they do something until they figure out what it is what they want to do, and then they go all in on that. Or they turn toxic and go to Reddit or something, like misery loves company, right? And so they just go online to find other sad boys. But, there's the fixed mindset, meaning like it's kind of like a black pill, right? Like, oh, women only want money and and a tall guy. And if I'm not that, I will never get women ever. And I cannot change my circumstances, so I will just give up on life. Versus being like, oh, I saw a short guy getting laid and he definitely did not have any money. So if that fucker can get laid, then definitely I can. Oh, my clogged nose. But, it's like, I remember I had a story that I've told multiple times about a viewer of mine who was in the Marines. And he was stationed in Okinawa. And he was a radio technician. Really, really smart guy. Ugly as fuck, partially balding. He was like 5'1", very short dude, but he was charismatic as fuck. He worked out like crazy, and he just went after what he wanted, And Pete, if you're still watching these videos, man, I miss you. You're probably not watching these videos anymore, but you changed my life, buddy. By showing me that it doesn't matter how you physically look or how much money you got, as long as you don't give a fuck and you go after what you want. And, the thing is that, there's a lot of people that love going over, like, statistics or facts on the internet, and then there's, like, people that just want to hear people that are on the ground floor, that are like dealing with stuff, So it's like whenever I see something on Twitter or Facebook where it's like, oh my God, we're going to hell, no. And then I just message like a friend who, like, if there's something that happens somewhere, I'll message the friend if I have one that lives there, and I'll be like, how bad is that? And then I'll gauge what's going on from their response versus what's in the media and stuff, right? And so same thing, it's just like when it comes to getting women or whatever, right? Like if you're if you're gauging most of your mentality off of stuff that you read online versus actually like reading some books and going out and meeting some people, then because it's so easy to go on Twitter and find some statistics or whatever. It's so easy to fucking like go and find like a website or a blog, a post that says something, and you don't even check the whole fucking blog, So it's like, but that's the one reason I like to read books, is that they're vetted, like they've got not like Amazon self-published books, but like books through legit publishers, because you know that those went through the ringer a couple times with an editor and somebody in there to get approval before it was finally set up for to be released. So yeah, it's I don't know, I like that. And look, there's Mount Fuji-sama. Yeah, this is for all you guys who don't know. When I fly, because I like to fly in Japan, I like to go on the bus to go to Haneda. And fuck Narita, guys. You want like a little life hack? Don't go to Narita. Narita sucks balls. Go to Haneda. It's the closest airport, and also it's just better. It's smaller, it's more streamlined, and fuck Narita. Narita is cheaper, but Haneda is better. And this is me and Papa Tetsu, and we're in the fucking the train, and I am wearing a mask because this is during not peak Corona, but semi-peak Corona. And I missed that suit jacket. I lost that somewhere when I got drunk with Jim and Golden Guy, and I don't have it anymore. I don't know. I still have that shirt though. Which is nice. Still have that shirt, which is cool. It's yup. Yeah, and these are the seats for the disabled, pregnant, and old people. And my mentality is that I will move if any of those people show up and need a seat. But until they show up, I'm gonna use that spot. I remember the ambassador from Georgia or some other country like that. He got in a lot of shit in 2023 because he sat in the handicapped spot on the train and somebody took a picture. And he just replied with like, look, if somebody ended up coming there, I would move. If somebody needed that spot, I would move. But until then, I'm going to sit down. Like, fuck you. And I like that. The guy stuck to his convictions. A lot of people would just buckle and say, I'm sorry, please don't cancel me. And that guy was like, look, sit down, and when somebody who needs it comes by, you give them the spot. And I don't ride the train that often anymore because I got spaghetti, but when I do need to ride the train, I make sure to do that because God, it's so funny too. Like when I see Japanese people and they're all young and whatever, and they're on the train. I rarely see Japanese people give up the seats, and I was like, why do I, the foreigner, have to be the first one to give up the seats? Like, I mean, I don't mind doing it, but I'm just like, motherfucker, this is your guys' country, but I'm willing to give up the seat because I don't have a stressful work week like those guys. Those guys are really working it. And there's Mainichi Shimbun. That's one of my favorite newspapers here, and it's a good newspaper. Them and Asahi, it's so funny because when you're living abroad, it's so hard to differentiate which ones are left leaning, which ones are right leaning, until you hear their views on Korea or something, and then they're like, "Oh, damn Koreans, they ruined Japan, rah." And this is by the way, guys, it's hard to kind of figure out the bus system, but if you ever do figure out the bus system, you should ride buses here. They're pretty fun. At least, in Fukuoka, it felt like there was just one long street the whole time we were there. It's just like we were on one long street, and we were going back and forth on buses going up and down that street. And, I don't know why I was wearing a suit. And, God, man, back when everybody had to wear masks. Ugh. I got horrible Corona AIDS fucking, during the end of December in 2023. And it's weird because I see people from across, I was watching Urban Rescue Ranch or whatever, and, he's in Texas, and he had the same fucking sickness I had. I think he got Corona AIDS, too, because I couldn't talk for a week. And he's in his video, and he's like, I've lost my voice. And I'm like, oh, my God, the guy in Texas got the same sickness I got in Tokyo. Wow, worlds are colliding, Jerry. And it's just crazy how it used to be a ton of COVID-19 shit everywhere, and all these signs and everything, and now it's just kind of cooled down. To be fair, I don't think a lot of people in Japan died from Corona, but that's another topic for another time. But anyway, back to books. So I found some old pictures of my old apartment where I displayed some books because I was getting rid of a bunch of books that I had. Like, you know, when I was moving out of my old house before I moved into the guest house, I was just giving away stuff. And, you know, people would come up and they'd get the books from me and everything, or get the stuff that I'm giving away from my apartment or my house at the time. And it's cool because I have some of these books still, and some of them I gave away. Some of them, most of these I got them scanned by a scanning company that went out of business because the copyright holders in Japan are assholes. But, yeah, it's like, I don't know. I thought, anyway, I talked about mindset. You guys should go definitely check it out. It's just, like, I don't think, like, overall, it's like, my last thoughts on mindset is just like, I think that there are systems in place that make it hard for you to achieve what you want to achieve when it comes to stuff like for example, like being an astronaut, you know? If you want to be an astronaut, there's like two options, and it's like Elon Musk or NASA, and they're both really hard to get into, right? So, and even if you become a rich guy and you do like the shuttle thing into the stratosphere, you're still not in space for a long time, you know? So it's, you know, it might be a little bit unrealistic to want to become an astronaut, but, you know, if there's things like you want to become like a TV talento, like, you know, you want to be a TV personality, or you want to start up your own business, or, you know, you want to move to the countryside and like have your own house, or you want to get a, penthouse or something, you can, you know, like, I don't know. I feel like, if, like, nobody's special in this world, you know, like, there's people that were born into money who have the what is it? Like, I heard a great joke yesterday, and it was like, it's like, what do you need to be a guaranteed great artist? And it's like, what do you need? Just rich parents. You know, it's like, because it's like, it's a lot easier to dedicate your time to a craft when you have your parents paying your rent and paying your stuff, and then, like, you know, and you don't have to worry about making money to live, kind of thing. And I remember what book it was. I don't remember what book it was, but it was like, I remember there was a book talking about that specifically, how it's like, it's really hard for people to get ahead in life when they're having to support themselves. And I remember there used to be a podcast that I would listen to back in the day called Empire Flippers. And there were these guys who, I originally found them because they had like a poster, they had a podcast called like Why I Hire a Maid to do like all my house cleaning and grocery shopping, so I can do work. And I thought that was so not convoluted. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. It just seemed like kind of douchebaggery, you know? It's like, oh, I'm too good to do my own laundry, so I have a Filipino woman do it for me. Meow, 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 meow. And you know, it's like, but now more of that time passes or whatever, I'm like, yeah, like, you know, you only have a certain amount of mental energy and free time during the day. And if you could free that up so you can move more flowingly, like more free throughout the day. So it's like you have somebody, it's like you get rid of every chore that you need to do, then you can really open up yourself to do a lot of stuff. Like, hell, even in my place, I still clean it almost every other day. You know, I have to go out and buy stuff for, like, you know, the bathroom, for the kitchen. You know, I gotta buy all this different shit. I have to, but I mean, like, you know, for me, it's not that big a deal because I just buy it when I'm on the way home, kind of thing, you know. But yeah, I saw these guys, Empire Flippers, and they were talking about how it's like, yeah, like, that's like, I just write down what I need to get done, and then, like, my maid comes in and she does it for me, and because of that, it frees up, you know, a good chunk, like a decent amount of chunk of time during my week. And I was like, oh shit, I didn't even think about that. And it's like, yeah, you guys should check it out. Empire Flippers, they're a really interesting podcast. I haven't listened to them for years, but it was basically two friends who started a business where they would buy famous URLs, or like what they would think would be famous URLs, and then basically what they would do is just like they would hold on to it until Facebook came around or something and wanted to buy it, and then they would sell it for a higher price. And then eventually, to help out Filipino people, they started up their own business in the Philippines where they did a call center. So, you know, they're employing people in the country as well, and blah, 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 blah. And anyway, it was that was the first time I thought of like, oh wow, like yeah, if you like when you think about it, rich people don't clean for themselves, they don't cook for themselves, or if they do, it's not that often, right? It's just so they free up themselves to do other things. And when you're financially not 100% financially big stomach, busting out of there, it's like when you think that like when you have the free time, you should do this stuff. And I remember that scene from House of Cards. Oh, I mentioned this before when like Kevin Spacey's going through a crisis, and Frank Underwood's going through that crisis, and he like starts shining his shoes, and his Secret Service member guy is like, "Sir, we can get someone to do that for you." And he's like, "No, I like it. It clears my mind," and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I agree with that." And look, this is Papa Tetsu and me, and we're going on the train to go to the giant Buddha in Fukuoka. And I love it. All these people are bundled up, and we're just like wearing like 2 layers. Classy people, classy. But yeah, anyway, it's just I think that I don't know, man. I mean, like the cool thing is that like I read so much self-help stuff when I was in my 20s that when I see stuff, like when I see people just grifting or just like doing a copy paste maneuver of somebody else's book, I can pick it up immediately, like, hey, did you know, blah, 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 and I'm like, yeah, you took it from a book and now you're like making money off of it, there you go, good for you, etc, etc. But yeah, anyway, it's just, that's a thing, and, but anyway, I want to get into another book too, so definitely check out Mindset. All the books that I'm mentioning in today's rant, I'm pretty sure you can find them on YouTube as audiobooks. So if you're too lazy to read it, you can just YouTube search it and you can find the audiobook for it. So anyway, first book was Mindset. The next book is Outliers. And Outliers was created by Malcolm Gladwell. And there's a lot of good stuff that he talks about in that book. But one of the main things that he goes over is the 10,000 hour rule. And this is what Katsumoto, Mr. Katz, thought of for his website with, you want to have at least 10,000 plus hours of listening to Japanese. And you want it listening in the background so when you hear new words, or you're like, it helps you learn the tempo, it helps you learn the speech patterns, it helps you learn the tone, it helps you learn all this stuff. And so he had a rule, try to get 10,000 plus hours of listening, just try to get as much immersion as possible every day into listening to Japanese, and then on top of that, the 10,000 hour rule. Now, some people have tried to refute this and be like, yeah, well, it depends on how you're studying while you're doing it. And it's like, look, dude, if you are working at something for 10,000 hours, you're going to figure out where you fuck up along the way, and you'll have enough trial and error to get through it. And, he was basically saying how, to master something, it's 10,000 hours plus. Now, it's not just show up at work for 10,000 plus hours and do the same thing every day. It's like you want to do something where you're going on a trajectory going up, and that's the great thing about that was the awesome thing about ADVJapan when it came to learning Japanese is it's like, oh well, all you really need to focus on, you don't need to overcomplicate it, just get 10,000 plus hours of listening. And it's like, oh man, well, how do I do that? Well, just listen to Japanese in the background as much as possible. Trust me, it's going to help you out a lot more than you think. And if you don't if you can't do that, well, get in the fucking habit of doing that, because you better fucking do it. And this is me on the streets eating some food. I think this was the first thing we ate in Fukuoka. And I was just like, I need something to eat. Papa Tet's help. This is probably a chicken sandwich, I'm thinking. I went through a phase where I was really into chicken sandwiches at the convenience store. But anyway, it's just you got to go, with Japanese learning, it's just 10,000 hours of listening, 10,000 plus sentences in Japanese. You do your original Heisig kanji, get all 2,000 of those cards in, and then you start putting in sentences. And it's like, yeah, well, don't you need to do more? And it's like, well, no. Like, the great thing about Anki is that it gives you a judgment system or whatever. So it gives you a 1 through 4 on how well you recognize the card. And if you're truthful with how well you recognize the card, then it'll show up again until you fucking finally memorize it. And anyway, I like that. It was cool. Also, I'm realizing that we went to Fukuoka in January, and it was cold. And one of the reasons I'm wearing that mask is because it's kind of a heat tech mask. So even though it was really thin, it was really warm on my neck too. And God, I look like such an idiot wearing a mask like that. I don't know. I mean, I think it's cool compared to the doctor's mask, but yeah. Anyway, so Outliers, there's a lot of good stuff in the book Outliers, like especially Outliers of Mindset. They talk about all these people that were originally rejected from stuff that they wanted to do by either their peers or like a school or whatever, but they still were, these people are basically like, you suck. Don't ever fucking, show up to, like, they have a segment in Mindset where they were talking about Robert Downey Jr.'s dad, who I didn't even know was an actor. And apparently, like, he went to, like, a Hollywood party, and there was, like, a big executive there, and his dad wore red socks. Like, that was, like, an offensive thing back then. I don't know. And this producer's like, you're a piece of shit. Like, you're never going to be anything in this town, you red sock wearer motherfucker. And, it's like, that guy was, like, a Harvey Weinstein kind of character. He was like, fuck you, and like, instead of quitting, the guy was just like, yeah, fuck you, I'm going to be famous, and, my son's going to be famous, and suck my dick, And so, I mean, like, they have... the thing I love about these books is that they show a lot of case studies, too. It's not just a bunch of theoretical bullshit. They actually show real-life examples, and they put them in there. And wait, is this the same footage from the Mainichi? Or wait, is this the same footage again? I don't know. I don't think it is. The next clip coming up is a long-ass clip that we didn't use yet, so hopefully this will be the thing. But, I don't know. Anyway, check out Outliers. It's a great book. You could listen to the audiobook in a whole day if you want to do that, And also, Fukuoka is known for the rivers, right? But this was like a dark, dreary day. And this is like the famous Don Quixote that's in Fukuoka. And Papa Tetsu and I had to go there to buy like an iPhone cable and some gloves. Like, it was legit cold there with the wind. I remember having to buy these nice gloves just because it was fucking cold. But yeah, anyway, that was so Mindset and Outliers. And then the next book I wanted to talk about was Mastery. This is made by Robert Greene, and he's a great fucking author. He's made a bunch of different books, like the 50th Law, the 48 Laws of Power, The Art of Seduction. A lot of good books. But Mastery, this book it's similar to Outliers. He's using real life examples of people that became masters of their craft, and he uses a lot of cool examples. And one of my favorite examples, which if I can recall correctly from the book, he talks about how these islanders back in the day, before compasses, everything like that, and I think they were Pacific Islanders, how they navigated going from island to island, and how they used the stars and the movement of the ocean in order to figure out what direction they needed to go to. And I don't know about you guys, but I played Wind Waker a bit when I was younger. I mean, I didn't play a lot of it, but I know the game well enough, and it's like, yeah, like going on the big open ocean, like how are you supposed to navigate that stuff? And I don't know, the book's really cool, and I really love the examples of the different parts of mastery that he talks about. I'm pretty sure in one part of the book he talks about Ben Franklin, and how Ben Franklin was, like back in the day of Ben Franklin, they didn't really have school for kids. Like, you had basic school until you got to like 12, and then you would go and apprentice somewhere where somebody would take you under their wing and they'd show you this stuff. And he talks about how Ben Franklin, like, learned how to do the print press, and he learned about business from an early age and stuff. And he talks about how when people were younger, like people were dying really early. So like, people were getting a whole lot more, they were growing up a lot quicker and having to have a lot of responsibility. very early on. And so, like, if you came from a decent family, middle class or up, they would send you to be an apprentice somewhere where you would live and work for somebody, And I don't know, it's just like it's so cool how I don't know, for me it's like I like fiction, blah blah blah, it's fun, but like when you can not just have it like be a boring copy paste history lesson, but it's like a a history lesson, but you're learning another lesson with it. That's the cool shit. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm vibing. Maybe I'm thrusting now. What am I doing? I don't know. We were listening to music or something. Oh, maybe there's music playing in the background. But yep, Papa Test and I just walking around, not giving a shit. But yeah. Anyway, mastery just talks about again like how do you master a skill. How do you get better at a skill? And it just kind of, just like the Outliers, just like mindset, it's talking about getting rid of the conventional, way of thinking that we're programmed through, whether through, the educational system or through, media. And so, yeah, it's just, it's so funny because, like, one of the reasons I'm talking about this is that I've been watching a live streamer a lot recently called Cracky Reads. And he's, I'm a translator, he's a translator, but he lives in America, and but he's got a fucked up sleep schedule because he's doing translation jobs and interpreting jobs for people on Japan time, and so, he will be working until about whatever time, right? And then afterwards he'll live stream, and he'll live stream from 4 p.m. till midnight, my Japan time. And, it's cool because, like, unlike a lot, some people watch live streamers for the whole fucking gimmick of, like, a TV show kind of thing, or, I don't know. I mean, like, they want the parasocial relationship, whatever, right? But I really like Cracky's stream because it's always usually the same 20 dudes there. And Cracky's just a guy, he just vibes, man. He has, like, kind of like a pirate radio thing going on where he'll just talk about whatever, and he has themes for his days, but it's not so much like, oh my god, I got all these copy paste fucking like templates from Streamlabs, and now I'm just gonna put them on there and blah blah. And it's like, nah, like the guy's got a lot of like weird, cool, unique shit that works with his channel, and like he does like AI art, and he does like he's like a VTuber kind of, like he uses like a motion capture thing to, capture his thing. He uses eye tracking when he's playing video games, so you can see him when he's like reading Japanese and stuff. And he's got all these different characters that he plays as too. And but anyway, yeah, it's just like it's a fun vibe. So like after my work day is done, which is usually around 4 or 5, I can log on and I know that he's gonna be streaming. And it's been fun because, like, I save, like, my brain active work, whatever you want to call it, for, 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. And then afterwards, I save my non-brain, highly active brain activities for the nighttime. So that's, like, making thumbnails, that is, studying Japanese, or just reading a book or something. So I like having his thing play in the background because it's not as distracting as like a TV show or a movie, right? And I guess the whole reason why I'm bringing him up is that like he also doesn't like the public school system. He also thinks that like he calls a lot of bullshit, and it's funny just because it's like I think we're relatively the same age, and it's funny seeing somebody who. The only reason I know about any of this stuff is because I had a chance encounter with Katsumoto. We just happened to live in the same city when that happened, and it even talks about, I think it was, in Outliers too, there's a chapter where it talks about Henry Ford and a couple other inventors or like business owners, and they were all born during a certain time where there was enough economic prosperity bullshit where their families could, the families were okay, and like society was okay enough that they could jump into something. And so it doesn't just talk about like, it doesn't just talk about talent, it talks about circumstances and timing being a big part too, right? And I'm pretty sure that was Outliers. But yeah, I think it's funny when I think of Cracky, and I'm like, wow, like, you know, here's a guy who oh yeah, this is a ramen shop we ate at, yeah, Nagaoka Ka, Nagahama, yeah, Nagahama Ka, yeah. It's just funny how it's like this guy, I never met him. I don't think he's ever even been to Japan, but like he's got the same mindset, the same mentality I do about kind of breaking out of that system and not going with the flow of like the whole mass of society, you know? And like some people, when they hear that, they're like, oh, he's going to be like an off-gridder and like, you know, solar panels and like gather guns and like, you know, choose a certain sect of Christianity and double down and go hard on it. No, it's nothing like that. It's just that, you know, like we try to make as many people as we can based as possible. And when I say based, I mean just like, look, like you're not like you kind of see society and its flaws for what it is, and then you fucking, you know, you do your best to not fall into the same mindset, you know, trap mentality that a lot of other people have, you know. And that's why we got to constantly read. That's why we got to constantly educate ourselves. And yeah, so check out Mastery. It's really good. And like actually I looked up all of these beforehand because I posted these on Discord. So there are audiobooks of this, but I recommend buying the book yourself, so that way you have like, I see my books as trophies, you know. When I look at my shelf, I'm like, wow, I read that. Hell yeah, you know. And so if you can, buy the books, buy them used, you know. Probably wherever you are, there's a used bookstore. Like hell, I haven't been to Ikebukuro in forever, and one of the reasons I want to go to Ikebukuro you know, recently, just because they used to have a big English book used section there. I don't know if it's still there, but I want to go because it's funny. Like it's ironic that like a lot of foreigners that come to Japan, if you go to the used book section, there are a couple of these books there, and I'm like, whoa, okay, cool. I gotta check this out. But anyway, there's another book I want to talk about. It's called the 80-20 Principle. And, you know, a lot of people, they don't understand the concept for some reason. It's not that hard, but here, let me get a sip of coffee before I continue. Coffee, why? Why won't they let us be together? Coffee and soy milk. How does that make you feel, Servo? I'm drinking soy milk. Yeah, for the one viewer out there who hates me drinking soy. God, I think, man, I need to buy a new air filter or something for my room because there's just dust. I mean, to be fair, who doesn't have fucking dust in their apartment, you know? Like, what are you gonna do, you know? What are you gonna do? But anyway, the book 80-20 Principle, it just talks about how a lot of the time whenever we're doing something, whether it's for work, whether it's for diet, whether it's for dating or studying or whatever, it says that like 80% of the time, most of the shit we're doing is just to be busy, just to feel like we're getting results, but we're not really doing anything. You know, like it's not actually helping us move towards the stuff that we want to do. And so, like a good example, right, is like, you know, for AJAT, all Japanese all the time. The principle behind that was that, like, they were taking the, you know, they were basically telling you that Japanese lessons suck dick. They suck big fat, you know, huge, possibly melanin penis, and you know, and it's and the reason why is because one, they make you bored, and so if it's boring, you're gonna hate it, and two, they talk down to you like a retard. You know, in those classes most of the time. 3, they give you the misconception that you're going to actually learn Japanese to a decent amount of fluency if you just do their homework and you participate in class, which isn't the case, right? And so, you know, like, instead of doing all these textbooks, all these tests, you know, all these speaking tests or whatever, you know, most of these classes are just like, it's already set curriculum based for the most retarded, stupidest, slowest kid in class, right? And so, you know, if you're going at, you know, like, what is that saying? Like, fleet is only as fast as its slowest boat, right? And so if you're going at a fast pace in a class and you already finished the homework or whatever, and then the teacher's like, yeah, that's great, but we're not moving towards that section until the next week of class, a lot of people will probably be like, okay, whatever, and they'll just be like, yeah, I can chill. Like, the teacher said it's okay. And so it's like, yeah, but like, even if you did all that work, are you going to get nearly as much out of it as if you had just been doing flashcards every day and listening to Japanese through immersion? And it's like, well, yeah, I was doing that for part of it. And I'm like, yeah, but that's the big chunk of butter, right? You know, like that's the thing that's going to make the steak taste good, not just throwing a steak on the frying pan. If you throw a steak on a frying pan that hasn't been seasoned or whatever, it's going to suck, you know? If you want that good steak, you're going to want to put that butter on there. You're going to want to put the seasoning, you know? You might want to marinate it beforehand, you know? But if you're just, if you're like just, you know, cooking it as is, it's not going to be as good, right? And so you could try to cook a steak a million times with no fucking salt or pepper on a normal frying pan, and it's still going to taste like shit no matter how much time you put into it, right? And so, like, Tim Ferriss brought up the 80-20 rule when I was reading his book, The 4-Hour Workweek, and he was a guy who he had his own supplement, like mail-in supplement company, so like people would see his stuff in magazines and they'd like sign up for his supplement thing, and then he would send it through the mail. And he realized that a lot of his week, like, he went on vacation to get away because his work was so stressful. He went on vacation, but he was still working, you know? And when he was on vacation, if I remember the story correctly, he realized that, like, oh shit, 80% of the fucking time when I'm at work, I'm responding to, because he was the only one at work, right? It was his company. He's like, 80% of the time I was working with customers that don't pay a lot of money. And I was like, wait, what? And it's like, he's like, most of the money that I make through my business is through 20% of my customers. Those are the high paying customers. And he was like, shit, like, I don't really need, it doesn't matter making the smaller customers happy. And like, you know, and it is important, but you don't need to finite it for everything. And so, like, you know, he realized that he was spending a lot of time dealing with these people that weren't putting a lot of money or effort into, like, they were putting a lot of effort, but they weren't putting, you know, like, they were taking his time away from him. So he got a virtual assistant, like in the Philippines or something, and he's like, look, if somebody complains about a product, if it was under like a couple $100, just give them a refund. Fuck it. You know, give them a refund. You know, like, he's like, if this can be solved with just a refund, here's your money back, then that's all you got to do. He's like, I don't have time to deal with this. And then, so he let the 80% of the customers that were just lowball and cheap motherfuckers, he let those be dealt with his, you know, virtual assistant. And then for the last 20% that were actually paying him the most, he focused all of his attention on them. And like, if you ever noticed that for live streamers, not me, because I don't think I have any, but, you know, if you go on Kick or Twitch or whatever, you can go to a live streamer and you can see at the top of their chat whoever donated the most subs, you know, or the most biddies or whatever. There's like a thing at top that shows that. And so if you go to a certain live streamer or whatever, you'll be like, wow, this guy's got like, you know, like, for example, if you go to Kick, right? Wow, this guy's got like 1,000 subs. Holy shit. You know, like, that's $5 a sub. That guy's making $5,000 a month. Like, so that means that there's like 1,000 different people who gave him subs, and it's like, no, that's not usually the case. Well, the case is, if like you look up there and it's like 1,500 subs have been donated by this person, and they like to nickname those guys Oilers into business, you know. And so it's like, you know, if you look at a lot of streamers, I mean, sure, there's some like the Kai Cenat guy or whatever, the young black dude in America. He's got like over 100,000 subscribers or something. It's nuts. And like, for that, yeah, he probably still has a majority of Oilers, but there's a lot more people on like a tiny one-on-one basis that are like subscribing too, right? And so I mean, this just goes for business. You know, this goes for business, it goes for Japanese learning, it goes for dating too. It's like, if you're doing something and a majority of the time your results are not what you want, or the progress is really slow, like slower than you think it should be, you got to reassess your shit and see what's like what is doing, like what is taking up most of your time, because in Japanese they have a saying called "Isugashii wa nani yorimo," which is like, it's better to be busy than not busy, ha ha ha. And I do agree that, like, to a certain extent that is true. I think that if you are going to, it's a lot easier, in that Casey Neistat video, it's a lot easier to navigate or move a ship, that you're sailing on, versus first starting to get it out of the harbor, right? It's a lot easier to change your projection when you're already in motion, right? And so I do agree that, like, it's better to be doing something versus just starting something. It's always harder to start something than to shift gears in the middle of doing something. But you also got to have faith in the process too. I feel like a lot of people that study Duolingo style or the Pimsleur style or whatever, they do it just to brag and be like, yeah, this is a set method. I've never met a single person who got fluent from this, but I know that I've never, this kind of system never worked for me before, but I'm gonna give it a shot because it's cheap and I got a free trial or something. And I feel like hey, and I know where you're coming from too. Like when I first met Katz, I only found the ADVJapan website because I was looking for cheap alternatives to learn Japanese. I thought I had to go to a Japanese school. I thought I had these textbooks for 6 months and I hadn't touched them at all, And like when you have I think that studying languages is a lot different compared to studying other things like math or like language arts or social studies or whatever, right? Like, science, because most of that stuff is like, okay, I have a subject, I'm gonna memorize this, and then it will be on a test, and then I'm gonna forget a majority of this. And at least with Japanese, like, people don't want to accept the fact that if you just looked at flashcards a bunch and you kept updating your vocabulary every fucking day, that, there's no way that you could learn Japanese that way. They want to make it overcomplicated, right? And, but the thing is that, like, with Japanese, like, unlike maybe, like, chemistry or, I don't know, I still use algebra sometimes, but, unlike chemistry or calculus or something like that, right? Like, you're not using that every day. Like, do you remember what year the Civil War in America started and ended? I don't remember. I should remember. I remember so many other things about the Civil War, but I do not remember those simple facts of, like, when was the date that it started, right? And it's just like, it goes to show that, like, school's a lot of memorization, but is it actually applicable? Like, are you actually going to use it? Like, when was the last time you had a class on how to go through and read a mortgage? Like, when was the class on how to get your credit score up? Like, there's no practical lessons there in school that are actually going to help you for the most part. I mean, like, hell, like, I think that like, it's definitely good to learn this stuff, like basic stuff, like, chemistry, physics, whatever, right? But it's like, how much of this stuff that we're learning in school is applicable to real life, like daily life, versus just like being able to quote something and sounding smart at a party, But anyway, yeah, I like the 80-20% rule, because it basically, like, shows us, like, there's a difference between being busy and being actually productive. But the thing is that, like, like, once you identify, first, the hardest part is that you got to identify what 20% of whatever you're doing is getting the most results. And if you're already going off a system like ADVJapan, where it's like, we already figured out what the 20% is, so you don't have to do all this extra bullshit, then you have to actually have faith in the program that it's going to work. And again, like the Duolingo, all this other bullshit, people go into this with, like, half-assed fucking faith that it's going to work out, and then they're like, oh, if I quit, whatever, it's fine, not a big deal, right? Like, they were just doing it to try something new, which is fine. But, when it comes to something that you actually really want to learn, like language learning or whatever, right, then, I don't know. Isn't it going to be a little hard? I don't know. Oh, yeah, this is us at the temple, at a big giant Buddhist temple. I love that temple. Oh, it's so beautiful. I want to go back there. This is like, I usually think temples are boring as fuck and they don't matter. Like, even if you go to the giant Buddha in Kamakura, it's not interesting at all. It's not that cool. But this place was on the side of a mountain, and God, it was just so beautiful. It was just so isolated. It was like a theme park, but without like rides or whatever. It was just like a nature theme park, but not cheesy. And I love it too. Like they said, like basically no sluts in this park. They're like, you can't they were like, dress decent, sluts. And I love sluts, by the way. You dress however you love, ladies. I love that the yoga pants. Look at that, actual fish. If this was America, some person would have eaten this fish or thrown some like fucking dishwasher soap in there or something to kill the fish. Oh, I love that about Japan. And this is giant Buddha. I made a joke that he's lying down because his wife keeps nagging at him. And Tetsu's like, oh my God. Ho, 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 ho. And I was like, it's true. Why do the Buddhas have beads on their head too? Is that like supposed to be like a black thing, or is that, I don't know, whatever. But anyway, yeah, 80-20 rule. Just look into it. The audiobooks on YouTube. And then I guess the last book that we can talk about is the 4-Hour Workweek. And 4-Hour Workweek, this was released a long time ago, maybe 20 years ago or something. Like, it's been a while. But this was the first book to basically help people break out of 9 to 5 and basically encourage people to be entrepreneurs and start their own businesses. And it was really cool. I really, really liked the book. The book is awesome because it basically talks about how this guy, he had a lot of stuff going for him. The dude's a smart cookie, but the thing is that, he talks about how he started his own business and the trial and error that he went through. And I mean, like, what's that old saying? It's like, a dumb man doesn't learn from his mistakes. A smart man learns from his mistakes, but a wise man learns from both of their mistakes, So, the thing is like, the great thing about books is that, like, if you see somebody who's successful and they're giving advice, even if they're fibbing a little bit, like, you can, like, the proof is in the pudding, right? So if this guy's a successful fucking business owner and he's saying, like, hey, this is my tips on being a successful business owner, then, like, why not give it the time of day to actually check it out and see what he's got to say, what do you got to lose? Maybe a day of reading, like, But I really liked the 4-Hour Workweek because it doesn't just talk about being a business owner. It talks about the bullshit that you have to go through being a small business owner, and then the loops that you can go through to make it more automated, to make it easier for you, And God, dude, I learned my lesson here with this because it was really windy that day, and I'm like, okay, I will put coconut oil in my hair next time so it's at least slick looking. My hair's so frizzy in this one. God, that Buddha was so fucking cool, though. Look at that. That is just... Isn't that the coolest thing you guys have ever seen? I don't know why he's got these, like, little kind of graves in front of him or whatever, but... God, that was just so fucking cool. Yeah, guys, if you're ever in Fukuoka, you gotta check this place out. The Fukuoka Giant Buddha. Oh, wait, hold on. What is this? Oh, my God. The White Lion! Oh, my God. Oh, the White Lion fucking guitar solo. Okay, I'm gonna have to listen. I'm gonna pause that. I've been listening to music, hair metal in the background, but God, guys, you want to hear the best fucking guitar solo of your whole life? White Lion, Wait. That one, Vinny Jones. I can't remember his name. Vinny Jones is the actor. Anyway, Vinny something. Amazing guitarist. But anyway, yeah, it's just the 4-Hour Workweek is cool though because it shows that, like, even if you're a small business owner, there's ways to automate it to make it easier, and also it's got that great 80-20 rule, which is like, look, even for my Patreon, right? I mean, like, for my Patreon, I have a lot of stuff that it's cool. It's bonus material for the people, so it gives people incentive to sign up for the smaller tiers, right? But the biggest the biggest quality that people are gonna get the most stuff out of are the tiers that are like $20 and above, right? Like, they're gonna walk away with some good shit. Like the $20 one, the $35 one. Those are both packages from Japan, but also the $35 one, you get Japanese lessons, and then the $50 one, you can get a one-on-one lesson with me. so we can do a call at the beginning of the month, a call at the end of the month, just to gauge where you are. And like the $100 one is like a consultation, right? For like, oh, I can't get women. I need your help, Mr. Guy. Something who I think will get me women. Or you want to move to Japan, or you're having trouble. You already moved to Japan, but you're having trouble getting out of English teaching or whatever. Like there's a consultation thing there. And then for the people that have money, you know, I love it. Like I've had a hater or two. Which is funny because, like, I'm small peanuts on the internet, but I've had a hater too. Like, something my haters love to say is like, yeah, Tika Sam charges people money to hang out with him. And basically what they're saying is, I want to hang out with Tika Sam. Why? I don't have money. Meh. And look, guys, like, you know, I've been very clear that, like, if you are an active member of my community, you know, there's a higher chance of me hanging out with you in person than if you are just a guy who's been lurking the whole time and not participating. But, you know, if you're a patron or you've donated, like, there's a way higher chance that I'm going to meet you in person when you come to Japan. But I set up that $500 tier because I know that it's not a majority, but there is a small minority of people that watch my stuff that have fuck you money. And I've had people that they're executives of small companies. They're people that are higher level management in companies. They're people that are like young dudes who started their own business who have fuck you money. Like there's, you know, the people that sign up for my tours are people that $500 is not that big a deal to them. And they like my stuff enough that they want to support my shit, right? But some people, and I'm guessing the people that complain are the ones that $500 is a big deal to them. Hell, $500 is a big deal to me too, you know? Like like if I had the expendable income, I wouldn't mind paying that, but like I don't. But like that thing is there for the people that want to donate that, but also they get 2 full days with me where I get to show them around all these hidden spots that you won't be able to find on TikTok or Lost Lonely Planet, whatever, right? And so like that's like that option is there for those people that want that value, right? And the people that don't want it, it's fine. Screw them. They don't need it. Like you don't need to sign up. It's not for you anyway, you know? And I love how this looks like Zelda. Doesn't this look like Zelda? They totally took inspiration for Zelda from this shit. I mean, just look at that. It's beautiful, man. Oh, I don't know what all of this stuff means under his foot. I think like probably that sign that we were looking at before probably explained it, but yeah, like look at that. I don't know, that's just so fucking cool. That is so badass. But yeah, I mean, like the whole point is, guys, is that like you know, I always tell people, like, you know, if you put that option out there, there will be people that if they see value in what you're doing, they'll sign up, they'll give you that cash. And so, you know, like people have copied me and I'm totally okay with that. Like fucking Nomadic Gaijin, Kid Show Ryuken. I'm like, yeah, guys, like do it. Because like their fan base is completely different from my fan base. And so it's like, look, there's enough ideas out there for everybody, right? Like I'm not going to be like, oh my God, they took my idea. It's like, nah, I like those guys. Good. You know, if you don't like me, but you want to hang out with them, like go pay them money to hang out, man. Like, I mean, the whole point is, it's just like, you don't know what's out there for you until you actually try to like grasp for it, you know? And like a lot of people are afraid of being judged. They're afraid of being like, oh no, like people are gonna, like, you know, people are gonna think I'm gonna have a big ego for like, you know, offering that option. But it's like at the end of the day, it's like, you know, I feel like the best way to open yourself up, you know, is just to open your, like, you know, get as many different perspectives as possible, right? And one of the best ways to do that is to read a fucking book, you know? I guess that's what I'm getting at. And that, you know, if you're not happy with your life, if you're not satisfied with what's going on right now, there's always options, but you gotta actually, you know, it's like Otacon said in Metal Gear Solid, you know, you can't wait for love to come to you. You gotta go find it. Same thing. It's like if you're not satisfied with your job, if you're not satisfied with your relationship or whatever, you gotta go find it, you know? Oh yeah, and this was fucking rigged. This is bullshit. They had these festival-style games here, and it's just like, nope, you're not supposed to win. You're just supposed to give money. But, I mean, it was still fun. I think Tetsu and I played at least one of these games. But, yeah, guys, I mean, and the big thing is, too, is just like, get that community going too. I mean, like, that's one of the things I'm really proud of with my Discord, is that, like, I'm trying to collect all these cool dudes and dudettes that are just, you don't need to be like, oh my god, I'm on my grind, Gary V, but it's good to be around a bunch of positive people that are like, I bet if you want to do something, we can find a way for you to do it, versus just being like angry, bitter, toxic Redditor, which is like, that's impossible, you're never gonna do it. Fuck you. I you don't know my face or what I've accomplished, but I'm telling you, no. And it's I don't know. I like that about my community, how we're like, okay, you want to do something, let's help you out, and I like that. So finding a community of people that are willing to help you out and get behind you for what you want to do, and just getting that information, because I mean, like, I remember Katz told me, he was like, you could get a professor at a college that's like, I'm a business professor, I know all this stuff about marketing, I'm a marketing professor, and it's like, motherfucker, if I read 200 books on marketing, I'd probably know more than you, because I'm actually studying this shit. And a lot of people, like, I really love it how in Mindset they said how it's like, some people, they get a job and then they stop learning. They stop going to the beginner classes. They just get such an ego about, like, I've accomplished this much, I don't need to learn anything more because I've passed all the tests. And it's like, nah, like, you always got to be a student. You always got to be feeding yourself information. And that's why it's like, it's good, guys. Get off the TikTok. Get off the Instagram. Get away from that dopamine fix, and go out to a temple with your Japanese buddy who's a sexy man, and read some books. And even today, the books I'm reading are, I've got Tokyo Junkie by Robert Whiting, I've got The Truth by Neil Strauss, and I've got Love Hina, because I never actually read that manga, and I bought the series for really cheap. So I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna go through it. So yeah. Anyway, I mean, the whole point is like, look, guys, I know reading can be intimidating or whatever, but just go chapter by chapter, man. If you're too fucking obsessed or whatever, or like you're too worried, just read a book summary, or like listen to a book summary on YouTube, and then read the book afterwards. It's like watching a preview for a movie before you watch a movie, right? Like, if you're like, oh man, I don't want to dedicate that much time into doing this, well, look at a preview first, and let that explain what the book is before you dive into it. But at least give it a chance. And anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you guys for listening. Did you remember to smash like button? And the secret comment of today is, okay, guys, this is a long one, but stick with me, okay? Put this in the comment section. Don't put this in the premiere chat. Put it in the comment section. Just write down, living in a dormitory with nothing but females sounds like an awesome idea. Or write down something like that, because Love Hina, I guess, is about a dude who's supposed to go work at the onsen that his family runs, like the hot springs, but it turns out they converted that into a girls' dormitory, but now he's got to live there with all these chicks. And I guess this was the first harem manga or whatever, right? So, I don't know, I never got into this when I was younger, so it's going to be fun to read this shit. But anyway, yeah, this is a secret comment. I'm probably posting the link for the live stream right now. And yeah, don't worry, there's going to be more walking around in real time rants coming up shortly. You guys just got to bear with me for a little bit. And yeah, like always, thanks for the support, guys, and I will see you on the next one. And yep, peace outside. Yeah, buddy.